to embarking on international trade, we suggest an export readiness assessment for the company. There are 4 critical requirements that a company should meet prior to embarking on international trade. The first and most important is management commitment. The reason for this is highly correlated with funding, resources, budget, money, because without an investment, it is very difficult for a strategy to succeed in business. The second requirement is resources, and this is precisely the money involved, the cash flow that is required to support the international strategy. The third critical requirement is the knowledge about the product or service that you are delivering. The success in international trade really is based on the core competencies of the company and knowing the positioning in the marketplace. The fourth critical requirement is the capacity to produce products and provide services. This not only relates to the quantity or volume of products or the staff to provide the service, but also the expertise to adapt the product or service to the new markets. These 4 critical requirements may have been surprising because most people think that the non-critical requirements are actually needed before going to international trade, and they are not. The first we hear about is a lack of international expertise. And this, depending on the strategy chosen, is absolutely not necessary, especially with an indirect market entry strategy utilizing a broker who specifically has international expertise. The second non-critical requirement related to the first is speaking a foreign language. And again, with an indirect market strategy, it is not necessary to speak the language because the partners that you enlist with your company can manage that requirement. The third non-critical requirement to export is traveling. With partners, it is not necessary to travel to foreign markets. Therefore, the 4 critical requirements are the management commitment, the resources, the product or service knowledge, and the capacity to provide those products and services.
So say you think you're ready to go international. Let's go through a little checklist to make sure that you're covering the basics. Have you been successful in the domestic market? You really need to have a product or service that is already established here and has demonstrated success. Do you have the capacity to produce the orders that you're going to receive? Are you willing to commit financially? It is expensive to travel overseas, and the deals don't always come as quickly as in the domestic market. You need to take your time and build relationships, and you will see the results over a broader time period than in the domestic market. Is management on board? Here's our number 1 indicator again. You must have management commitment to succeed. It's not something you want to try and move on to the next thing. You really have to commit to a period of time. And can you commit the resources? That goes down to the people. Who's going to manage your international trade for your business? And do you understand foreign export regulations? Do you need a license? Are you aware of cultural preferences? What may be okay in the United States may be very offensive in other countries, and it's very important, since these relationships are the key to doing business, that you understand those differences. Do you understand shipping methods? Getting your product from the United States to the overseas market incurs costs and requires insurance, and you must be aware of the methods and the costs associated with those. Do you understand export payment systems? How are you going to get paid for your product or service? And what terms will you extend to the customers that you don't know that are very far away?